Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Millions of students and gun control advocates across the country are set to take to the streets tomorrow to demand stricter gun laws. The nationwide demonstration, dubbed the March for Our Lives, comes just over a month after the deadly school shooting in Parkland, Florida, that left 17 people dead and reignited a fiery national debate over firearm regulations. Tonight, I'm joined by 3 high school students from here in the city who will be participating in marches both in New York and in Washington, D.C. Kenny Oyewole is a senior at Curtis High School on Staten Island. Tyler Lanovoy is a senior at Susan E. Wagner High School, that's on Staten Island as well. And Ethan Rubin is a junior at Columbia Secondary School in Manhattan. Thanks, guys, for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is this your first march?
Yes, this is my first march.
For anything?
For anything. I've never been in a political march.
And how about you, Kenny?
This is my second now. I was in the climate march last year.
And Ethan?
This would be my third. I was in the climate march and the women's march.
So Tyler, let's start with you. What made you decide that this is the time for you to become politically active?
Well, when I heard about the Parkland shooting, it was really devastating. And then at my school, we had a gun scare where there was a threat of a gun inside the school, and we had a 3-hour lockdown. And it was really scary because my mom was actually in the school and I wasn't. So you can only imagine how terrified I was. If there was an active shooter, I could have lost my mom.
Why are you going to march this time?
I'm going to march this time to speak and use my voice and speak out to politicians that we want to change now, and to unite as an entire country, because it's not just, in one city, it's going all over the country that people are marching. So I want to be a part of it.
And what do you hope the takeaway is for people who are going to see you on the news, or maybe the lawmakers who will see those reports?
Hopefully it will start momentum. It will get other cities to do the same thing, perhaps in more conservative or rural areas, to see that this is something that is happening, this is something big, and that national gun control needs to happen, and that students deserve to feel safe at school, and adults at work or wherever they are. American citizens deserve to feel safe.
Have you guys had conversations in school about what happens if there's an active shooter? And how does that make you feel, having to juggle that and everything else that you're dealing with as a high school kid?
Columbia Secondary School has truly been great. They've turned a tension-filled moment into a teachable one. And before the walkout we spoke about, with our teachers, social isolation and civic action, and we talked about how there are possibilities of someone coming in with an AR-15, AK-47, but the only way to change this is to do something ourselves and to be the leaders among us.
And Kenny, you had mentioned that you want people in other states to notice you. What about people who have guns as a more part of their culture? What would be your message to them about the restrictions that should be on guns?
Well, I would say they should think about the morals and the safety of the kids, because if a kid has to go to school and worry about if somebody's going to bring a gun to school instead of just their education throughout the day, then that puts a worry that they shouldn't have.
Does anyone that you've come across feel differently about gun safety, gun control, whatever you want to call it, that you've talked to, anyone that you've debated with?
Actually, yeah. There was a viral video from a kid in my school that was a freshman, and it was during our school walkout. He was ranting about how teachers should have guns and how we should promote guns. And it's just, a lot of people really disagreed with that, especially during the walkout.
Sure. How old are you guys?
I'm 17.
I'm 17 as well.
And I'm 16.
And now, the real question is, none of you are old enough to vote, but do people recognize, those of your friends who are 18, the importance not just of marching, but also of voting?
Yeah.
Do people talk about, registering to vote? And
yeah. My aunt actually really wanted me to register early, so I don't know if that's possible.
I'm not sure that's possible.
I don't know.
Okay, you'll have to look into that. The kids in Florida that have been all over the news, and you guys as well, you seem to be juggling a lot. I'm looking back to not too long ago when I was in high school, and you know, there was a lot of things going on in your mind, and yet you are dealing with some very weighty issues. Do you feel that you have more of a superhuman talent, or that you, I guess my question is, how do you do it all and also deal with the emotions of having to comprehend this sort of thing happening in a place where you are supposed to be safe?
Well, I guess it's just like to understand that it's more to this world than just us, because yes, each one of us have our own like daily lives that we have to go through, but just remembering that being an active member of society and taking part and using your voice, you know, is what you have to do basically, even as a 17-year-old.
Yeah, and I feel like we've always been taught that in school, like to use our voice and to speak about what we believe in and to do things like this, like have marches and like things like that.
Final word, sir.
I think the reason that the Columbine shootings and the Virginia Tech shooting and the shooting today in Parkland or recently have all been so publicized is because it's happening to the children. So because we are not safe, we have to take things into our own hands. Whether we can vote or not is not part of the issue. I think that we have to really say our opinion and our piece on the matter.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Have a very safe time, and be in touch when you come back, all right?
Thank you.
All right, time now for a very quick break. Coming up for our Friday conversation, I'm going to sit down with the man who was tapped to come up with resiliency measures to make our city safer after Hurricane Sandy. Stay with us.